Hi, Sioux Falls. Welcome to the planning preview for the month of June 2021. Today's program is going to be talking about our Planning Commission meeting that will take place on June 2nd at 6 p.m. at Carnegie Town Hall. As always, we love to have members of the public come and testify for or against any agenda items as well as non-agenda items. So please come down to Carnegie Town Hall on June 2nd at 6 p.m. Today's program will include Jason Bieber with the City Planning Department. How are you doing today, Jason?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you with us as always. We've got a little bit of slower agenda this month, so the commissioners will be happy with a little bit of a lighter load, but any reason for that, or are we just kind of getting into summer months?
I think we're just getting into summer months. You know, we did so many subdivisions and rezonings the first, five months of the year, so I think people are just building those things now, and so we're kind of slowly maybe going down a little bit, but still pretty busy. So
yeah, without a doubt. Well, the commissioners won't complain about a little bit shorter meeting, but let's go ahead and kind of get into some of our items here and talk about what we got going on in Sioux Falls. Our first one is a conditional use permit to allow for a low slope flat roof. That is over at 3900 Northview Avenue. So kind of by up on the north end of town, 29th and 60th Street. Tell us what we're doing out there.
Yeah, so yep, you're correct. It's up there off of our kind of by the Sanford Sports Complex. One of the things that we did with Shape Places was allow in the office zoning districts these office buildings. What we did when they're adjacent to single-family residential or residential uses, wanted them to try and fit in a little better. So we require some brick on the front and a sloped roof as part of that to make them feel a little bit more residential in style. Since that time, we've had a couple of these requests come in, and not necessarily to make them not residential in style anymore, but maybe just kind of do some different design elements. You know, most of the ones we've done are really nice buildings, but maybe they didn't want the pitched roof. They wanted, you know, more of a flat roof, and then with instead of brick, some stone on front. So this just allows them to go forward with that and give us an idea of what it's going to look like, and it still, hopefully, as a staff, we'll look and make sure it still fits in with that existing neighborhood up there. So good.
Yeah, interesting to see something a little bit different from what we're used to. Okay. Yep. Next up is an amendment to a planned unit development. This one's out at Lake Lorraine, it looks like. Tell us about the amendment to that PUD.
Yep, as we know with Lake Lorraine, that thing has evolved over the last 5 or 6 years, and really, you know, once a year, maybe twice a year, it's kind of time to maybe update what's happened out there, or any new future projects that maybe they've seen. This one specifically is having to do with some signage out there, figuring out what they want for signage throughout the entire development. Not only signage for each individual business, but you know, for hey, Lake Lorraine, here's the shops that are all around here, or just some wayfinding signage. So essentially just updating that, and something that we kind of like to do every other year with these specific PUDs. So.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was going to say, I think we had seen this one not too long ago, but that's great, because we need some flexibility with these planned unit developments and allow people to come forward and bring changes.
Yep, so, absolutely.
Good to see. Next up is a rezone from conservation and the RA3 apartment residential over to the RD2 townhome residential. This one looks like it's at the northwest corner of East Bull Pine Trail and south of 6 Mile Road. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, so this would be up there kind of south of Willow Run Golf Course as you get south of Arrowhead Parkway. So actually, if it's kind of funny, if you go out there, these are actually all constructed. Well, the developer and the construction person, after they constructed them more as apartment style, they weren't going to plat them off separately. The market's changed over the last 9 months or so, and it seems like everybody wants to buy these type of things, especially by the golf course, those kind of empty nesters moving there. So really, he's rezoning it. The buildings aren't going to change. He just wants to be able to call them townhomes and put those property lines down the middle, and be able to sell each one off individually to a different property owner. So.
Okay, very good. Makes sense. Next up on our list is a conditional use permit for an on-sale alcohol beverage establishment within 500 feet of a sensitive land use. That's at the northwest corner of West 41st Street and Purdue Avenue. So kind of over by T. Ellis Road out there.
Yeah, if you guys have been out there, that's really starting to develop quite a bit with the Fairway, a dollar store, some couple other strip malls. This is just another use kind of on the east side of that specific development. They're looking to possibly do a restaurant or a strip mall, and just looking to get that conditional use as they essentially start shopping it and then have the actual license be issued by the council. So
okay, so I know we don't always require a CUP for on-sale alcohol. It always depends on what's around. So that's where we talk about the sensitive use. And can you maybe remind the viewers what are those sensitive uses where somebody is required to get a conditional use permit?
Yep, great question. So we categorize a sensitive land use as most of the time what we hit are the single family and twin home and townhome uses. Okay. We also count churches, parks, schools, different things like that as that sensitive land use. So if somebody would come in with, say, a bar or full service restaurant, there's a separation distance from those land uses, and if they can't meet that, then they have to come to a public hearing and really make sure that their security management plan and all that stuff's going to meet the ordinance prior to going for the license. So. Okay,
perfect. Yeah, well, thank you for the information there. Our next one is another conditional use permit for an on-sale alcohol beverage establishment within 500 feet of a sensitive use. That one's at 1602 South Sycamore Avenue, so kind of East 26th and Sycamore. Tell us about this project.
Yeah, so this is, if you haven't been up there, the Yum House that's in the strip center on the east side of Sycamore across from Hy-Vee. Here they have really good food, but they're just looking to serve beer and wine, which most restaurants are kind of doing these days. So really not too high intensity of a use, but they back up to that mobile home park to the east. They're within the 250 feet, so they got to come for a conditional use.
So just like what you were talking about.
Exactly.
Okay, very good. Next up on the list is a rezone from C2 Commercial Neighborhood and Streetcar District to the RD2 Townhome Residential Suburban District. This one's at 1201 North Marion Road. Tell us about this project.
Yeah, as you know, with Marion Road up there and just with Amazon announcement, it seems like we're getting a lot of requests to actually go away from some commercial uses to get more residential up in that area. That's kind of exploded over the last couple of years, and we think will continue. So they're really just downzoning that to do some townhomes and really get more residential on the northwest side of the city. So.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's so much of that right now up in that area, and that's the way we usually see it. We need houses, and more residential, and then the commercial follows afterwards.
Absolutely.
So we're in that process right now, it sounds like. Next up on the list is a rezone. It's going from Agricultural District to the RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban District. It's at 8300 and 8400 West 48th Street, so that's kind of by 41st and T. Ellis, and it looks like we got a preliminary subdivision plan with that as well.
Yep. As you know, we like to do the rezoning and preliminary plans at the same time, so we have 2 agenda items for this specific one, but this applicant is looking at just taking those 2 lots that are there and constructing kind of a cul-de-sac between them and doing twin homes around it. So similar project to what this same developer is doing up in the northeast part of the town off of Walnut Street and 229. He's doing a similar project like that up there. So
okay, gotcha. Very good. Well, this last one is quite the rezone, it looks like here, Jason, so I may need the screen to help me out, but we've got quite the mix here of conservation, single-family office, live work, apartments, commercial. It really has just about everything, and we're kind of moving some things around, it looks like. We're talking at the southwest corner of 26th and Veterans Parkway, which I know is such a big project. So why don't you tell us about what's going on with this rezone here?
Yeah, so you kind of hit the nail on the head there talking about moving some lines. You know, we did this rezoning and annexation probably 2.5 years ago, and as you continue to do those developments sometimes, well, maybe we got too much RA3 here and we need more RD1, and really just moving those lines here and there. All similar uses, really similar location for all the uses, just kind of getting more fine-tuned now as they start to actually construct it. If you haven't been out there, there's a ginormous mound of dirt that they're using for grading and stuff, and so we've had some interest in probably in the next I would say a couple months you'll probably see see some, construction begin on some projects out there. So.
Okay, great. So another one, hey, we just need a little changes here, and it's got to go through the process and allow people to come in and speak on it. So it looks like that's what we're doing there.
Absolutely.
So, good. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, Jason. We appreciate it as always.
Thanks.
And thank you for watching the first half of the planning preview. Please stick around. We'll have Matt Tobias come, and he'll be speaking about the Neighborhood Revitalization Department coming to the city of Sioux Falls.
Hey, this is Seth with the City of Sioux Falls Housing Division, and today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about what our single-family rehab program offers in the City of Sioux Falls. And so what we do in-house is we have a program that provides up to $25,000 for repairs to your home. And so what that consists of is it's a deferred interest-free loan. So there's never a payment that's required on the loan, and there's never any interest that accrues on the loan itself. So it's pretty much the best loan you could ever get. This is offered to people who qualify. Part of that is you need to be 80% or below median family income, and there is an application process that goes along with that as well. Some of the things that we can help you out with would be replacing old windows, replacing a roof, replacing driveways, doors, basements that are leaking water or you need drain tile installed. Anything that needs repair in your home typically is stuff that we can help with. For more information on this program, I encourage you to call 367-8180 or visit us on our website at siouxfalls.org.
Welcome back, Sioux Falls, the planning preview for the month of June. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Today I've got Matt Tobias with the City of Sioux Falls. Thanks for joining us, Matt.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here today to talk about this new Neighborhood Revitalization Department. It's been in the news quite a bit lately, but there's a lot of things to hash out, and not a lot of people know exactly what this is going to look like. So that's why we've got you here today. So why don't you just tell us about where we're going with this department and what you guys will be doing.
Yeah, so the department, it's a strong need from the administration. I think it's probably been something we've been talking about for a while, and it's just better aligning a lot of the services that we're currently doing and just making them more efficient, more customer friendly and more efficient. So, and there's a lot of opportunities in that. So with me, I have a little bit of a unique background. I have about 15 years with the city. About 9 of that was spent in public works. The other probably 6 has been on the planning side. So I'm taking a little bit of both, a lot of my experience and kind of focusing it into this neighborhood revitalization department. I did serve for about 3 years as the city's code enforcement manager. So I kind of took that on before I took a different role in planning. But yeah, so it's bringing all those different services together. There's 3 main parts of it, one being code enforcement. We really want to take a look at how we're doing code enforcement. I have a long-term goal to get the city split off into different areas. Currently, our system, the way it works today, is you can have up to 4 people go to your property for 4 different violations.
Oh, wow.
And then you get 4 different letters.
And it's just got to be very inefficient.
It's very inefficient, and it's not very customer service friendly on the property owner. And no one really likes to get a love letter from the city.
Sure.
I mean, our little love letters aren't very nice, and our attorneys keep telling us that we have to make those not love letters, right? They got to be straight to the point. So we're looking at ways where we can better utilize resources, and I can instead of having individuals running all over the city in different directions, and we have a couple individuals in our department that split the city by Minnesota Avenue.
Okay.
That's big, right? So you're covering all of East Sioux Falls, and you're covering all of West Sioux Falls. So the idea is to really get these guys to really carve out an area of the city, and they can focus on a smaller area.
Okay.
And they can do everything in that area.
Yeah, so people still need to mow their lawns.
Yep.
They can't have high weeds or any of that stuff, but maybe a little bit of changes, a little more customer service friendly, a little more focus,
a little more
and maybe
efficient.
conversational. I'm sure you'll still be writing the letters.
We'll still be doing that. So it's whenever you talk neighborhood revitalization, I start basic. The code's got to be in check first, right? So we got to have that stuff in. So that's where all this kind of falls into play. We got to make sure that's in check first. The next piece is obviously that it's a very hot topic right now is housing. Okay, and It's all aspects of housing. It's affordable housing. It's everything else. So I'll be working very closely with the housing division. I'm looking for opportunities then to just, we utilize the funds that we have to make sure we're getting the best bang for our buck. And it's a challenge. We want to partner with some developers. We want to explore the idea of maybe doing a TIF, right? That's another word we talk about all the time, doing a TIF project that focuses on housing.
Okay.
We'll start looking at ways we can do that. So, and as our city grows, and we're growing in every which direction, right? We're growing to the south, we're going to the east, we're going to the west. We can't forget about the core. Okay, and so the core is, if we let the core go, we're going to have big problems.
And some cities do forget too, which is unfortunate. And you see that when you drive through there.
Yes, so that's where when we're growing at this rapid rate that we are, we really got to we can't lose emphasis on the core. So the revitalization piece, yes, we're going to focus on the code enforcement. We're going to get that all in check. And then we're going to focus on housing, on different opportunities we have in housing. And then we're also going to then take a look at neighborhood development and start looking at ways where we could really kind of go in and we can partner with developers. The city can go in and say, hey, maybe it's smart for us to buy up this piece of land and for redevelopment. So we have a lot of opportunities within our core. And the core is a little easier too. The infrastructure's already there. You're not having to, it's easily accessible.
The utilities are already there. The roads are already there.
Yeah,
so I can
all the
imagine
infrastructure is there. And as we move out to the outskirts of our city, that's some of the highest costs that we incur is those infrastructure, the development piece of it. So that's all there. So there's a lot of really good opportunities, and we also bring a unique level with our housing programs that we need to, and we're doing a really good job of marketing those housing programs right now. We get a lot of federal funding every single year, home dollars and CDBG funding, that we utilize that to help out single family homeowners, right? And we also have some rental rehab programs too. So we want to really take a look and market our programs that we have. And the other big goal and dream that I have is, we have multiple departments within the city, and we all have our own budgets, and we're all doing really good things. So Streets has got their CIP, and Parks has got their CIP. My goal is to better align all those CIPs. If we can pick an area of town and go through and say, hey, we're going to redo the streets. We're going to be doing the street anyway. Let's piggyback on parks. Let's do a park improvement project. Let's do new lighting in there. Then we'll come in maybe with this wonderful program we call Nice and Keep. Okay, maybe we'll bring Nice and Keep in the area, and then we'll maybe bring in our housing programs. That's neighborhood revitalization.
Yeah, and I think, Matt, it's perfect one Sioux Falls framework that the mayor talks about all the time, right? So many times these departments can get siloed and they focus on their one little thing, and if you guys can come in and kind of be that common ground and work with all these different departments, what an opportunity to be able to collaborate with everybody.
It is, and I think that's the way to have on my shoulders, is to kind of be the connector, connecting piece with that. And that's where I don't want to go back and talk about my resume, but that's where my experience, I think, is going to really kind of help me in that realm, having the public works experience, the code enforcement experience, and the planning experience. So it's just, we're doing it. I talk about it all the time, and I'm like, it's not very hard. It's not, but we just got to make it happen, and we really got to make it happen. And we have a big opportunity in front of us with this housing. I mean, housing is huge right now. So if we can make some things happen in housing and start getting some more affordable units built, and then we can start bringing the revitalization piece from the neighborhood level, and then we can start kind of getting the code in check. And you don't have to go very far outside of Sioux Falls, and for people to say, that's a really nice place. It's a clean place.
Yep. Well, and I think that's got to be so important right now, because it's a national issue, this affordability issue, and we in Sioux Falls, in your department, you can't quite control the price of lumber, right? It's hard to do. But there are certain other little things like you're talking about that can really go a long ways to maybe differentiate ourselves from some of the towns that are our size in the area that we quite frankly compete with, right?
Yeah. Well, workforce is another key word you're hearing a lot of. It's the people, it's the housing, and housing really is it's not a Sioux Falls problem, it's a national problem, but we need to start looking at the housing in not just Sioux Falls, but a regional. It's a Crooks problem, it's a Hartford problem, it's all these, we start talking about all the different developments we have coming to our city, the Amazons, the CJ Foods. I mean, they need workers, and they need, and those workers need housing. So we really got to tackle this thing together with our regional partners.
Yeah, and I think it's great, the focus on the core too, because a lot of people love that big 3-stall garage out on the edge of town, but it's not for everybody also. There's a lot of people that work downtown and like living just a few minutes away from downtown. So if we can get them in the right house or whatever else is necessary to get them to really invest in their properties in the area, that's absolutely great.
No, that's the whole plan. It's just being more efficient and having a better customer service. And we have, I always call it the code enforcement shtick, right? And we can go down that road, but we don't have to. And we don't want to lead with that, right? So, you know, we have a really good rate. We have about a 90% compliance rate when someone gets one of our love letters, right? And they usually read it and go, oh man, they're not messing around, we'll take care of this. It's the other 10% that we really have a challenge with.
Okay. Yeah.
And those are the ones where we have to go down that path with, but it's just creating a better, stronger neighborhoods, healthier neighborhoods, and just rejuvenating the core a little bit. I think that's gonna really help us in the long run.
Sure. So Matt, it's been a few weeks now since the mayor made the announcement during his State of the City address about the program. What have you heard from people so far? What are you hearing from citizens? What are you hearing from developers? It sounds like quite a bit of excitement.
So I've been telling the story a lot, and I'm getting the same feedback from everybody, like, oh wow, that's so awesome, it makes a lot of sense. And so I think the big thing for me is to deliver, right? I'm getting a lot of good feedback from people thinking it does make a lot of sense. But yeah, so it's the key part of this whole new division too is we're not adding a lot of FTEs. I would love to just say, hey, give me 10 people, I'll throw people at the problem.
Sure.
Right? But I don't know if that's what we need to do here. It's just better aligning our services.
Sure.
So we've had some of the conversations with different departments. We're going to be coordinating a lot closer with all these different departments that are affected by neighborhood revitalization. So we started the work. It was supposed to launch June 1st, but I think I started the day after I first found out about it.
Okay.
You know, so we hit the ground running, and it's been fun so far, and I'm just ready for the challenge.
Okay, very good. Well, awesome, Matt. You can't be shy about your resume when talking about this one because you are the right mix.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about planning, you talk about code enforcement, and it sounds like you're the right guy for it. So
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, congratulations and great work to the city for coming up with this great great program. We're so excited to see where it takes us.
Sounds good.
Nicely done. Thank you for joining Planning Preview for the month of June 2021. As we mentioned before, our Planning Commission meeting will take place on June 2nd at 6 p.m. So please come down to Carnegie Town Hall and give us public input. Thank you.